Hey everyone, it's Amadou Han and welcome to ABA Africans Building Africa podcast where I chat with inspiring African entrepreneurs who are participating to the development of Africa. Today we have Sigan Abiona, an entrepreneur, a socks maker, and the founder and CEO of Nicole and Giovanni Socks, a socks designer and manufacturing company based in Nigeria. Segan has mastered digital marketing and social media to take his business to the next level, which we also discuss in this episode. Now let's get to it. Africans Building Africa, for African entrepreneurs by African entrepreneurs, working together for the sake of Africa. Let's get to work. So Segan, welcome to ABA.
Yeah, thank you very much, Amadou.
I was very brief on the introduction, but tell us more about yourself.
Well, my name is Segun Abiona. Yeah, I'm Nigerian, as you already know. And I'm a socks maker. I'm an entrepreneur, and I call myself a salesman because spent close to 13 to 14 years of my life as in the financial industry. Worked in a bank for close to 6 years. Worked in an investment company. Close to 6 years too. So it's all my life has been finance. So that's basically me.
From an investment analyst to socks maker, what's the story behind that?
I've always been a very fashion conscious person from time immemorial. And one thing that is very, very clear about me is that I am very, very much an advocate of quality. For me, it's majorly a divine directive, more or less, because while I was in England, and I was working in a bank, at the time I was getting actually tired of the financial thing and wanted to do stuff on my own. And that was where it started. And I took some time out to pray and wanted direction on where to go. And one of those afternoons when I came back from work, I just got that soft voice telling me socks. Sounded very strange, but after a while, I accepted it to give all my best to it, because one thing I found out about success truly, it's about you being fulfilled in what you're doing, and that was just it. And at that time, I was rounding off in London, and I knew that, okay, coming back to Nigeria was going to be a challenge on its own. But I knew that Nigeria is green, Africa is green. It's an opportunity for you to do something different compared to every other person.
And I love the optimistic, just being optimistic about Africa and grabbing your bags and moving back home and starting something new. That's the story that I keep on hearing from, inspiring African entrepreneurs like yourself. It's very inspiring to other people like myself who are actually currently in the US, that we need to also, follow you guys' footsteps. But let's talk about your company here for a second. Nicole and Giovanni Socks. When I first heard the name, I was like, is this an Italian fashion company?
No.
Like, where is the name coming from?
Okay, my daughter is actually Nicole. My son is Giovanni. Yeah. And my name is Segun, which practically means victory in our language. And if you actually look at Nicole itself, it means victorious people. And Giovanni means God is gracious. So it's like everything about me kind of surrounds the fact that I am very, very much someone who believes so much in God. And I just wanted those names to be unique. So I didn't have a plan for a Nicole and Giovanni socks when I was having them, but I had a mindset to have them bear good names, as in names that would actually, depict something positive. That's it.
So how many socks do you guys sell on a monthly basis?
Well, on the average, we sometimes do as much as 500-600 pairs. But we've had some months that we actually have done like 1,000. Sometimes it depends on some certain contracts we get, because we also do for schools. Like last month, we did close to like 5,500 pairs. which was basically for school. But individually, we could actually do like 500 pairs in a month.
So which one of these channels is actually your product currently being sold, like online, retail, and wholesale?
Okay. Answering that question, I need to actually address something. When I was coming back from England, one of the major tools I decided to use was social media platform. And I knew that the digital marketing industry in Africa is beginning to grow. So what I actually had in mind was to use such platform to actually sell my product instead of getting a store. Now, you know definitely that getting a store or getting a place in Lagos sometimes can be very expensive. So why put yourself into such a trap when you're just starting a business that you're not even really sure of how it's going to be? So I decided to actually take advantage of the social media platform. And just like I was telling you earlier, I spend a lot of my time on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all sort of things. Now, what actually happened is that we sell through all these online platforms. When we came in, we used all this, a model called Jumia, Konga, and all those attributes, like the Amazon in the US or, in London. That's how Jumia and Konga works. I started with them at that time when I was in the bank. And over time, when I found out that the information, or should I say the brand, has been disseminated to a certain level, then I withdrew most of my stuff away from all those platforms so that it doesn't water the brand. What I'm trying to tell you is that I had a business model, and gradually I was infusing it into, the environment gradually. And after a while, every other platform stopped selling except one. And the reason why I left that one was because it actually fits into the target market. So right now, I sell majorly from my own online platform, which is my website, and some brick and mortar stores. And those brick and mortar stores are all around the country, while we also have stockists. Now, when I say brick and mortar stores, there are some stores that I feel people would naturally walk in to shop, and got them to sign up to actually store my socks, and which they did. Then we have stockists all over the country. Now, as I'm speaking to you, in practically all the geopolitical zone in the country, we have stockists. In Abuja, we have stockists. In Jos, we have stockists, which is the middle belt. We have in the west, which is Lagos. We have in Ibadan. We have in the east. We have in Benin. We have in Asaba. We have in Warri. So all this business model is what we try to use, and one way or the other, we are selling.
Right, and that's a very innovative way. I would say more like an innovative business model, because if you look at Africa, one of the biggest things that people are really getting stuck on is from being a mom and pop shop fashion designer to reaching that next level. And by utilizing social media, that's a big push, because as you know, a lot of people are on social media. So that's really a creative model. And before even you created any socks, you start making sure that people are asking about your products. Creating that demand, which is all about also when it comes to fashion. What advice really, like, how would the small mom and pop shop designers succeed in Africa?
This is my opinion. If you actually want to succeed in Africa, the very first thing you need to do is to know your market. You need to understand your market. Who are the people who wants to buy your product? Who are the people you're making your product for? Is it a want or a need? That is one major thing you need to understand. Because if it is a want, that means you're only targeting people who just want the product but does not need it. And in Africa, there is not much funds to throw away. So you need to actually address the need of people. To succeed, you need to understand what the people need. And from that moment on, it's easier for you to start carving a niche for yourself. And, in Africa, as an entrepreneur, and because of lack of finance, you cannot dabble into too many things at the same time. So you need to actually allow the market also dictate the pace of what you intend to sell. A very good example is, as we have started with the socks, customers will start, or should I say, had started asking us, do you do ties? Do you do cufflinks? Do you do pocket squares? Do you do panties and all those things? Now the customers are the ones now telling me what they actually need. You understand? So it's now left for us, being a company, to sit down and tell ourselves, okay, which area is the next place to move? Now I've allowed the customers to tell me what exactly they want. So you need to be strategically sound and placed for you to be able to succeed in Africa.
And every business requires marketing. So
yes,
how are you making sure that people are talking about your product?
Okay. Now, number one, I will always tell, we have 3 strategies. While as a banker or as a financial analyst over the years, what I've always seen as the best source of marketing is called advocacy. Now, I've always been an advocate for the highest level of customer service and allowing people to have such a great experience. For Nicole and Giovanni socks, that is one thing that we've actually made happen. And that's our number one mindset. We make the customers happy. And we go the extra mile to make sure that the customers are not only happy, but are happy, they are happy for what they actually have bought from you. Now, they are the ones who actually talk about us. We have a lot of referrals. Now, majorly, should I say, 60 to 70% of our sales comes from referrals. And the whole idea is making the customers, excited about what they're buying. Because when a customer places a call to you, the customer has got a lot of things in their mind. They want to pick up something, but sometimes not all of them know what they want. Now, all you need to do, you're not dictating the customer to the customer. You're only guiding them. And when a customer feels that you're guiding them the right way, honestly, they will always come back. And unconsciously, they talk about you to other people. Unconsciously. Now, this might take a while, but I can tell you convincingly, Nicole and Giovanni has only been here for 2.5 years, roughly. And a lot of people feel we have been here for like 10 years. The reason is simply because people do the talking for us. And we do the necessary thing, making sure that advocacy is the highest level of service.
That's the most powerful way of marketing, and sounds like you have mastered that, because quite frankly, there's nothing better than word of mouth and people advocating for your product, and you give them that power and you make sure that they talk about your product to their friends or families, because most of the time that's how people purchase certain type of products, especially fashion. Let's touch a little bit about your operations back when you started. Were you waiting for people to place your orders first before you go ahead and create the product, or you had the product stocked somewhere and waiting for orders to come in?
No, we actually had the products, because what we did was that myself and my partner, we actually sat down, came up with designs. Should I say we are fortunate to have traveled the world to a certain level that we know what sort of designs are available in some stores all over the world. We know in America, we know Stance, we know Richard Pora, we know all the socks, socks makers in the US. Same in England, same in other parts of the world. So we have been able to do our research well to know that our designs has to be unique. And that was exactly what we did. We made sure that we prepared unique designs, and moments when they were available, we started having to do the marketing via the social media platform. And people started making requests. It was shocking, but not also shocking, that in our first 3 months, we've done £500,000, as at that particular point in time. So people were actually making demands. People were actually, requesting. And the moment one person buys, the other person is asking, where did you get it from? And that was how we started. Yeah, that was just simple how we started.
So have you received any funding for your company?
Well, at the moment, or should I say from the beginning, I had, a former boss invest in my business, but he's actually out of it now because the whole direction was not to really fully invest in the business. I, for one, in as much as I want investment, I want a structured company first before starting to invite investors. So from the beginning, I would say yes and I would say no because after a while, he was not shown the way out, but we had an agreement that the business should be run by myself alone for now.
So what is your growth plan? Like, are you planning to expand throughout the continent, or are you planning to expand in Europe, the USA? So what's your plan?
Okay, fantastic. That's a very good question because at the moment we are actually concluding the plans to actually, sell in the US because we have a lot of customers as we speak in the US. Same in London and in Europe. We've been getting a lot of requests from London, so we're actually looking at that. Then we also have the experience of Moscow because we have, based on our Google Analytics, we have a lot of Russians actually coming on the site. So we've been able to identify an area in Russia where we can actually, do business. But, before venturing all these things, it is always best, just like an African proverb that says that it is from home that we get to know who you are. So we are actually taking advantage of West Africa. We've actually been in Ghana. We've been in Tanzania. And just yesterday, we had a request to sell for us in South Africa. So Nigeria is being taken care of. Africa is the next big thing. And I can tell you, for us to be able to earn foreign exchange and to be able to run the business effectively, we definitely need to tap into America and Europe. So watch out for us, Africa to the world.
Our audience is mainly African entrepreneurs looking to invest or start a business in Africa. What advice would you give them?
Well, as entrepreneurs who wants to invest in African startups majorly, what I would advise is what sort of solutions are they providing? I mean, what sort of solution is the person you're investing in providing? Now, when you find out that the solution that they are providing is a kind of solution that would continually be requested or continually be needed, there is a sign of a long-term plan in that. That's number one. Number two, how structured is the company? Who is the person in charge of the company? Who is the top management in the company? Is the person experienced enough to actually handle the company? Is the person experienced enough to actually take the company to the next level? And another thing is returns. I mean, sales. Okay, are we really turning over, and are we being profitable? Now, those are the kind of things you need to start asking, because the truth is, also do not expect too much, because in Africa there are a lot of challenges with structures. Like a very good example is audit, making sure that your books are well tutored and well mannered for investors to come in. And there are quite a lot of things we need to improve on. But at the same time, that doesn't say that we don't have that kind of service in the country. But those are little details that they need to look into. If I remember vividly, I mentioned, the kind of solutions that the African entrepreneur is actually providing. Number two, I said something about the management structure. It has to be well structured. Thirdly, I also spoke about the books, which is very, very vital. I think for you to invest in any business in Africa now, those three things are very, very key. If those three things to a certain level is secured and sorted, I don't think there is any reason why you shouldn't pull your funds into it. And try as much as possible to do your research. Information is key. Information is everywhere now. Most of our businesses are online now, so you can easily know what exactly is going on. So there's nothing actually covered except the person is not transparent enough for you to see whatsoever they are doing.
The last part of the interview is called the ABA moment. And what I like to do with the ABA moment is like a lightning round of questions. I'll ask you some questions, and I want very simple and short answers. If you were to live in one country in Africa and start a business, where would it be?
It's not going to be changed. Nigeria, of course.
If you had only 1,000 to start a business or invest in Africa, and knowing what you know now, where and how would you invest your money?
My socks business. And the reason is simple, because I know the market, I understand what I'm doing, and I know I can make my money back in a short period of time.
So have you read a book which had a huge impact on yourself? If so, what's the name and author of the book?
Yes, The Further Anatomy of a Winner by Patrick Barkley. It's a story on Jose Mourinho.
Oh, I forgot you are a Chelsea fan.
Well, that's true. I'm a winner.
So, in your opinion, what is the next breakthrough idea or business opportunity in Africa?
It's majorly Greek. Agriculture is one major breakthrough, because we have a mass land in Africa that is being underused and underutilized. A lot of people, a lot of countries are concentrating so much on resources that that they feel that is giving them a lot of money. Just like Nigeria, we so much depend so much on petroleum, but now we are forced to look into something else. So Greek is the next breakthrough. The moment we can tap into it, I'm sure a lot of challenges will be resolved.
So, Segun, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me. It really has been a pleasure chatting with you and getting to know your story and learning from you as well. And we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amadou. I hope people in your own sphere and environment will know that we in Africa really, really have great plans, and we can do big stuff. And there are a lot of entrepreneurs here in Africa who are ready and willing to do, a lot of breakthrough jobs. So please come in and invest. We're waiting. We're very, very much waiting.
Thanks everyone for listening. Please join me on the next episode where I chat with Jillian Kiganda, a speaker, author, $1 million brand builder, and the founder of Bold and Fearless. Jillian has over 15 years of experience of building brands throughout the world. So you definitely don't want to miss it as we discuss what it takes to build a brand in Africa. If you enjoy this episode so much, please go to iTunes and leave us a review as I read each one of them in order to improve this podcast. Also, don't forget to check out our website, africansbuildingafrica.com, where we feature ABA stories. Thank you so much for listening, and see you on the next episode.